Welcome to mini lecture 1 for module 6. Again, a very quick lecture. I'm going to hit on some high points and some definitions that you need to know for the quiz. We're going to go through physiography, a couple of key ideas there in terms of the landscape, particularly the mountain walls, if you will, of South Asia and into East Asia. Then we're going to look at hydrography, the importance of certain river systems, and then lastly the monsoon. So here we go. Okay, first of all, again, we need to have those three ideas. I'm going to ask you about, again, the mountain wall, that is the complex of mountains, hydrography, the sacred rivers, and then from a climate standpoint, the monsoon. There we go. Okay, so overall we look at the system. What we see is, again, the Ural Mountains divide Asia from Europe. That's one important system. And then when we look at South Asia, we're going to see this complex of mountains here. We'll get to that in just a minute. But then again, mountains, then we have the Tibetan Plateau, a very, very high plateau area interior to Asia. And north of that is the Tarim Basin and the Gobi Desert. So again, this breaks South Asia, Indian subcontinent, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Southeast Asia, Indonesian archipelago down to here, and then East Asia, China, the Korean Peninsula, and Japan. All right, so first of all, mountains. Most important idea is this, what is often referred to as the Himalayan or the Great Mountain Wall. The Himalayan complex we see here is the Greater Himalayas, so the Himalaya mountain chain here. Then up here is what is known as the Pamir Knot. These are the Pamir ranges here. But what really happens here is that Karakorums, the Hindu Kush, the Himalayas all kind of come together into this very complex area in the north that is a series of very high mountains and valley passes. And so that divides South Asia from the rest of Asia. North of that, as I said, is this idea here that this is what's known as the Tibetan Plateau. Most of the region of Tibet exists within that. North of that is the Tarim Basin and the Tarim Desert and the Gobi Desert. And so this system here is the interior deserts. So again, going from south to north, we go across the Indian subcontinent, across the Himalayas into the Tibetan Plateau, down into a basin, a desert basin, the Tarim Basin here, Tarim Desert, the Taklam Desert here, and then the Gobi. And so again, as we go further and further north, drier and drier highland regions. Okay, so again, Himalayas, Pamir Knot, where everything comes together. Rivers. Most important thing to remember about rivers when we think of Asia is that these are not only importance and features in terms of their hydrography, their hydrology, that is their importance in terms of water resources, but in many cases these are actually sacred rivers, rivers that are tied to the culture and religion of the region. And so if we move from west to east, important concepts, this is the Indus River. And so again, the Indus River is a culture hearth. In mini lecture 2 we're going to talk about that. But again, one of the earliest human settlements occurs here. So that is the Indus River. But you'll notice the Indus again is fed from the glaciers of the Pamir Knot, the Hindu Kush, the Karakorums. As we move from there, then the next river that I want you to know is the Ganges, or the Ganga River. The Ganges Basin, Ganges Valley area here is a very broad plain right below the Himalayas. Again, the Ganges or Ganga is fed by the meltwaters of the Himalayas, and it runs this way into the Bay of Bengal. The Ganges River is perhaps the most sacred of the Indian rivers. Then, north of that, arcing the same way, is the Brahmaputra, okay, which in a sense runs through Bangladesh, and then again out into the Bay of Bengal. And then lastly, in Southeast Asia is the Irrawaddy. And so those are the South Asian rivers, all of them significant to both Hindu religion and beliefs and the Buddhist religion beliefs. Now as we move into East Asia, the two that are important are the Huanghe or Huanghe River here and the Yangtze or Yellow River here, both of which historically have been very important in terms of transportation in China, but also significant in terms of their flood risk. The Yangtze particularly has historically been river that floods in devastating manners and has caused literally millions of people to die over the past 2 millennia. Okay, so again, hydrology and hydrography. Now lastly is this concept of the monsoon. The monsoon system quite simply means an extreme period of precipitation that occurs in South Asia most notably, although there are other monsoon regions in the world, including the southwestern United States. But the monsoon is a period in the summer months, in the high sun months, in which extreme precipitation events occur. And so to give you an idea of this, there are areas here, if you look at this is in millimeters. So if these are areas, all the areas in dark blue get over a meter of rain during this very, very short 1 to 2 month period. So these are just constant and extreme rain events that are driven by a change in the relationship between the ocean, the Bay of Bengal, and the land. So in the summer, what happens, sun is directly overhead here. In other words, the sun, what's known as subsolar point, moves northward. We have extreme heating of the land, relatively speaking cooler water, and so this heating of the land pulls cool wet air from the Bay of Bengal onto the landmass. It runs up against, remember that Himalayan range here, and all of that rain comes down and falls out, and we get, you'll notice right here, this extreme area of precipitation right along the base of the Himalayas. We also will see it here to the west of the Western Ghats and north of the Eastern Ghats here. But again, it's extreme precipitation events, and as you read your text, you'll see it has a lot of impact on the culture and the economy of the region. Okay, that's it for Module 1. Again, mountain systems, major rivers, monsoon system. That's it.